Hello everybody, welcome to Wild Boy Movies, the place to talk movies. And today, we're gonna be reviewing the SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water, the second SpongeBob SquarePants movie. Right now I'm gonna have some information up on screen for you to read, like director, runtime, and PAA rating. All of that will be up on screen for you to read right now. But be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below your thoughts on Sponge Out of Water. But without further ado, let's get right in to the pros. Alright, starting off, I gotta go ahead and say that the animation in here looks pretty good. They have like a significant upgrade in comparison to like the first SpongeBob movie, mainly because this movie, Sponge Out of Water, and the first one had an 11-year gap, and 2D animation got a lot better in those 11 years, and yeah, it really shows here. But the big thing I want to talk about with the animation is the 3D animation that they have whenever SpongeBob and his fellows go into the real world. Like, I thought the 3D animation that they had in here looked pretty good, and especially when they turn into the superhero versions, I do think, yeah, the 3D animation here is good, although I will admit the 3D animation used in the third SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run, I feel like that had a better use of the 3D animation, but the 3D animation here in the second movie, Sponge Out of Water, is still really good nonetheless. I also like how this movie went ahead and said, no, we're not gonna have Plankton as the main villain again, considering that he was the main villain of the first movie, and you might think that it could kind of be very repetitive at this point, considering that SpongeBob has been going on for like a long time ever since we got this movie back in 2015. It might have felt repetitive at that time to have Plankton be the villain of the second movie. So instead, they went ahead and had a brand new, completely original character, Burger Beard, played by Antonio Banderas. And let me tell you, whenever Burger Beard talks in this movie, I just hear Puss in Boots, because he was the voice of Puss in Boots in the Shrek movies and the two spin-offs that we got. But I felt like that he was a pretty good villain in here, although not amazing, good enough to be like, it's good that they have Plankton as the main villain for this movie, because it might have been repetitive at this point. But yeah, I felt like that he was a decent enough villain for this SpongeBob movie, and I thought Antonio Banderas did a pretty good job as this Burger Beard pirate. And speaking of the cast, I thought the cast in here did a pretty good job as their roles, because it's the exact same cast from the original SpongeBob series, from Tom Kenny, Mr. Lawrence, Bill Fagerbach. All of these characters that we know of from SpongeBob are the exact same voice actors who voices those characters in the TV series, and I thought it was good that they didn't go ahead and recast anyone, just because I felt like that these guys are perfect as the roles that they play in the SpongeBob series. I also do like the idea that they went ahead and had with Plankton having to team up with SpongeBob to get the secret formula back. That was something that I did not think that they would do in this movie or anything with SpongeBob, considering that Plankton is the bad guy, but it's cool that they went ahead and did that. And yeah, they're going to be doing that again in Plankton's own solo movie coming to Netflix, and yeah, I do think that the way it's executed here in Sponge Out of Water will be executed a lot better than that Plankton movie coming out, because I just, from the trailer, it just does not look good to me. But here for this second SpongeBob movie, I liked how they went ahead and played that out, and having it be like a small team up for them to go back in time to get that formula, and then once they realize, oh wait, we grabbed the wrong formula, things go south, and yeah, I felt like that was done very well. And lastly, I gotta go ahead and praise the fact that they turned these SpongeBob characters into superheroes, because you gotta remember, by the time this movie came out in the year 2015, superhero movies were all the rage. I mean, we had Avengers Age of Ultron and Ant-Man released in 2015, and the year prior, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, X-Men Days of Future Past, Captain America the Winter Soldier, and Guardians of the Galaxy. Superhero movies were big and popular at the time, and the people at Paramount and Nickelodeon thought we could capitalize on that by turning this SpongeBob franchise into superheroes of sorts, and that's what they did here. And I liked how some of these SpongeBob characters had different powers that you could kind of associate with these characters. Like SpongeBob as the superhero with bubble powers, I thought that worked well considering that SpongeBob does like to blow bubbles. Patrick, who has the power to summon ice cream, that was pretty crazy and unexpected at all. Mr. Krabs is essentially like a robot, okay? Sandy is just a giant squirrel. Makes sense because she is a squirrel. Squidward has like the powers of like really annoying and bad clarinet playing, which I thought was pretty good in here and fits very well to the character of Squidward. And Plankton is just this giant hulking creature with a tiny head. Like, I thought it was funny that Plankton, who's giant, buff, and muscular, has a tiny head. Like, that was just funny with the character of Plankton in this superhero form. So yeah, I ended up quite enjoying this movie. I don't think it's as bad as audiences on Rotten Tomatoes gives it, but I do think that yeah, this is far from the quality of the first SpongeBob movie. There are some things holding it back, so let's get into the cons. Alright, starting off, I do wish that we got a bit more of the superhero SpongeBob characters in this movie. Like, maybe like 5 or so more minutes of these superhero SpongeBob characters doing a bit of action, like saving some people from like Burger Beard's attacks. And I do feel like that they did have like a good amount of SpongeBob characters as these superheroes, but I do think that they could have done a bit like at most 5 more minutes of these characters in their superhero forms. And lastly, I think the ending with like the seagulls with that Burger Beard pirate singing the SpongeBob theme song with that dolphin bubbles interrupting, I do feel like that probably is an ending that wasn't for me. I would have been fine if the movie ended with Plankton trying to steal that formula after he saved that formula when being chased by Gary, and then SpongeBob says bye, and then that would be the end of the movie. I would have been fine if that was the ending of the movie, but yeah, the ending that we got with like the Burger Beard pirate and the birds, wasn't really for me. But still, overall, I quite enjoyed this movie. Like I said, this isn't as good as that first SpongeBob movie, but I still think that it is quite an enjoyable movie to watch, especially if you're a fan of the SpongeBob franchise. So for my scorecard, I'm gonna give the SpongeBob movie Sponge Out of Water 4 stars, with the score out of 10 being 8 out of 10, with the percentage being 80%, with a grade of B-, with my final verdict being a dip in quality from the first, but still enjoyable. But that was my review on the SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water. I want to hear from you guys. What are you guys' thoughts on Sponge Out of Water? Go ahead and leave your thoughts down in the comments section. And while you're at it, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. And have a great day.